to the welcome to the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, a United Way partner agency. We are located at the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. Today is Saturday, the I don't know what day. Oh, the 24th. Saturday, the 24th of April, and we will be reading excuse me. And your radio hosts today are Carolyn
and Gladys.
And we will be reading the news from today's edition of the Fayettville Observer. And go ahead, Gladys, start before I fall apart completely.
Your weather today, we have at 52 degrees, a shower late this afternoon. Tonight, 38 degrees, chilly with rain at times.
Ooh.
Sunday, early, 50 degrees, and later at night, 35 degrees. A little AM rain, mostly cloudy. Monday, 57 degrees early, 35 degrees later at night, sun and clouds. Tuesday, 60 degrees in the morning, 41 degrees later at night, mostly sunny. And Wednesday, 69 degrees early in the morning, 52 degrees later, times of clouds and sun. Thursday, 76 degrees in the morning, 58 degrees later at night, turning out cloudy. And Friday, 72 degrees early in the morning and 49 degrees later at night. Mostly cloudy, thunderstorms possible.
All right. Applause. Emma Picaro of Pinehurst was named to the Fall 2017 President's List at the University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Today in history. Today is Saturday, March 24th, as I finally realized, the 83rd day of 2018. There are 282 days left in the year. Today's highlight. On March 24th, 1958, Elvis Presley was inducted into the U.S. Army at the Draft Board in Memphis, Tennessee, before boarding a bus for Fort Chaffee, Arkansas. Presley underwent basic training at Fort Hood, Texas, before being shipped off to Germany. And any of you that are my age remember that. In 1765, Britain enacted the Quartering Act, requiring American colonists to provide temporary housing to British soldiers. And I don't remember that. In 1832, a mob in Hiram, Ohio, attacked, tarred, and feathered Mormon leaders Joseph Smith Jr. and Sidney Rigdon. In 1934, President Franklin D. Roosevelt signed a bill granting future independence to the Philippines. In 1944, in occupied Rome, the Nazis executed more than 300 civilians in reprisal for an attack by Italian partisans the day before that killed 32 German soldiers. That's overkill. In 1965, Ranger 9, a lunar probe launched 3 days earlier by NASA, crashed into the moon as planned after sending back more than 5,800 video images. Now for birthdays. Poet Lawrence Ferlinghetti is 99. Actor William Smith is 85. Oh, that must not be the one I know. Fashion and costume designer Bob Mackie is 79. Actor R. Lee Ermey is 74. Rock musician Lee Oskar is 79. Singer Nick Lowe is 69. Rock musician Dougie Thompson of Supertramp is 67. Fashion designer Tommy Hilfiger is 67. Comedian Louis Anderson is 65. Actress Donnie Pesco is 64. Actor Robert Carradine is 64. Actress Kelly LeBrock is 58. Rhythm and blues DJ Rodney Cool Collie Terry of Ghost Town DJs is 57. TV personality Star Jones is 56. That's her name. The name is Star Jones. Country rock musician Patterson Hood, Drive-By Truckers, is 54. Actor Peter Jacobson is 53. Rock singer-musician Sharon Core of the Coors is 48. Actress Lauren Bowles is 48. Rapper Maceo, a.k.a. PA Pacemaster Maceo, or Pacemaster Mace, is 48. Actress Megan Price is 47. Actor Jim Parsons is 45. Okay.
Need to know. 1. Marathon road closures. Several roads will be closed to traffic during the All-American Marathon on Sunday. They include both directions of Ray Avenue between Rowan Street and Hayes Street, one block of Person Street at the Market House, both directions of Green Street, both directions of Rowan Street, between Green Street and Bragg Boulevard, both directions of Hayes Street starting at the Market House and continuing until it turns into Morganton Road, both directions of Morganton Road from Dobin Park to All-American Freeway. The southbound lanes of the All-American Freeway between Morganton Road and Fort Bragg Roads near Festival Park will close at 5 a.m. Sunday. The others will close at 6 a.m. Ray Avenue between Mason Street and the entrance of Festival Park Plaza will be closed to traffic starting this morning. Roads will reopen as the marathon course clears. 2. Free Shred Event. H&R Block is hosting a free shred event today from 9 a.m. to noon in Fayetteville and Lumberton. Participants may bring one box of personal information to be shredded. The Fayetteville location is Cross Point Shopping Center, 5075 Morganton Road, Suite 5B. The Lumberton location is at 3555 Fayetteville Road. Medicine Drop. The 9th annual Operation Medicine Drop is today. Dispose of unused and expired prescription drugs at several pharmacies between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Participating pharmacies include CVS at 522 Owen Drive, CVS at 3026 Bragg Boulevard, Rite Aid at 906 Bingham Drive, Rite Aid at 7860 Cliffdale Road, Rite Aid at 5989 Morganton Road, and Walgreens at 3300 Ramsey Street.
Okay. Come on down. This is Livewire by the Observer staff. Come on down. Why does the Price is Right... just a second. Okay. Could you ask her to go lock my car? Thank you. You don't have to need that. That was the note. Thank you. I'm sorry. You're listening to a couple of, well, at least one slightly confused lady. Livewire Observer staff. Come on down. You're the next contestant. Question. Why does the Price is Right allow contestants to bid $1 over the previous bid to beat them? That spoils the program for me. They should have to bid a complete amount, EC, for Fayetteville. Answer. Livewire is assuming you are talking about the show's one bid contest. This is the contest where 4 contestants are called to come on down from the audience and told and bid against each other on the value of a prize. Each player attempts to guess the retail price of the amount, rounded to the nearest dollar. The winner is the one who guesses the exact price. If no one guesses the exact price, the winner is the person with the guess that is closest to the retail price without going over. If by bid a complete amount you mean EC, that the show should require players to always attempt to guess the exact amount instead of strategically bidding $1 higher than a previous bid, you are failing to account for a problem that would create. Specifically, what happens if the exact price is just $1 higher than a previous bid? If the game does not let the next player bid $1 above the previous bidder and thereby win the game, you'll force him to overbid and automatically lose. This was from Paul Wolverton. Livewire seeks to answer questions of general interest in consumer topics. Initials are used to identify questioners when names are given. Contact Livewire at livewire@fayobserver.com or at 486-3516.
Public Safety. Cumberland County arrest. Brandy Jean Matthews, 33, of the 1400 block of Hamlet Street, was charged Friday with 2 counts each of breaking and entering a motor vehicle and conspiracy, and 1 count each of larceny, possessing stolen property, misdemeanor larceny, and misdemeanor possession of stolen property. Bail was set at $4,000. Antonio Chico Snow Jr., 29, of Fort Worth, Texas, was charged Friday with assault by strangulation. Bail was set at $10,000. Tavon Maurice Faison, 22 of the 500 block of Warm Springs Drive, was charged Friday with breaking and entering a motor vehicle. Bail was set at $5,000. Marvin Alexander Sutton Jr., 35 of the 1700 block of Charity Lane, was charged Friday with 2 counts of possessing a controlled substance with intent to manufacture, sell, or deliver, and 1 count of misdemeanor possession of drug paraphernalia. Bail was set at $2,500. Robert Christopher Elliott, 50 of the 400 block of McRae Drive, was charged Friday with 2 counts each of larceny and possessing stolen property, and 1 count each of first and second degree burglary. Bail was set at $50,000. Kirkpatrick Asmar Shaquille Smith, 23 of the 300 block of Winslow Street, was charged Friday with obstruction of justice and speeding to elude arrest. Bail was set at $10,000. Shelton Ray King Jr., 35 of the 100 block of Westwick Lane, was charged Thursday with 2 counts of trafficking in marijuana and 1 count of maintaining a drug vehicle or dwelling. Bail was set at $50,000. Bridget Caroline McDaniel, 35 of the 100 block of Brockton Drive, was charged Friday with larceny and possessing stolen property. Bail was set at $10,000. Break-ins. Troy Drive. The Dollar General store at 1712 Troy Drive reported at 6:29 a.m. Friday. Cigarettes taken. Stedman Murphy Road reported at 10:17 p.m. Wednesday. Nothing reported missing. Stedman Blue Sand Hill Road reported at 2:08 p.m. Wednesday. Unidentified appliance taken. Hope Mills. The Pizza Hut on Chickenfoot Road reported at 8:29 a.m. Wednesday. Money and bolt cutters taken. Damage was estimated $1,430. Vehicle break-in. Hope Mills Hardin Road reported at 7:45 a.m. Wednesday. Computer, tablet, and handgun taken.
Crisp named Methodist University interim president. Delmas S. Crisp Jr. will serve as interim president for Methodist University, this school's Board of Trustees, said Friday. Mac Healy, chairman of the Board of Trustees, made the announcement during the university's monthly faculty meeting. Crisp, the university's provost, will assume the title on June 1st. He will succeed Ben Hancock, who is retiring May 31st after 8 years as head of the university. Upon learning of Dr. Hancock's plan to retire, the Board of Trustees immediately went to work to begin the process of finding the next president of Methodist University, Healy said in a news release. A search team is working with a consultant to refine the search parameters, Healy said. An announcement about the search is expected to go out in 30 days. The board hopes to receive applications shortly after that, he said. While we want to fill this very important position as soon as possible, we will take as long as we need to get the right person in place for Methodist's future, Healy said. Crisp briefly served as interim president following the retirement of President Elton Hendricks in 2010. Upon his arrival in 2011, Hancock named Crisp executive vice president and then named him provost in 2017. I see you're getting all the long articles. I plan it that way.
USASOC hosts International Sniper Competition by Drew Brooks, military editor. Some of the best marksmen from across the globe gathered on Fort Bragg this week for a chance to test their mettle against their fellow sharpshooters. The U.S. Army Special Operations Command International Sniper Competition involved nearly 24 teams from 7 countries and 4 branches of the U.S. Armed Services. The 2-man teams were tested on their range, speed, and accuracy, but the biggest challenge came from within their own ranks. A series of timid challenges were meant to replicate real-world missions as well as stress the relationships and communication skills of competitors. When guys get put on the clock, they go faster. There's more pressure, said a Special Forces Sniper Course instructor with the U.S. Army John F. Kennedy Special Warfare Center and School. You have plenty of time to build a durable and steady position, but they rush it and they start missing. Guys do better when they're laughing and joking, the instructor said. The Special Warfare Center and School Sniper Committee hosted the competition, which began at Fort Bragg in 2009. The school's sniper course is used by all of Army Special Operations, including Special Forces and Rangers. The 2018 competition included teams from across the Army, Marine, and Navy Special Operations communities. A Marine Recon sniper team, Coast Guard sniper team, and a team from the Army Sniper School also were represented. Teams from Singapore, France, Italy, Germany, Ireland, and Norway also competed. The winning team was to be announced Friday, along the week-long event. On Tuesday, teams were taken to ranges on Fort Bragg for a series of tests designed to challenge them mentally and physically. At range 67, snipers raced against the clock as they moved from one firing point to the next, engaging a series of 12-inch by 16-inch targets that were up to 600 meters away. Officials said the competition was about more than accuracy and distance. It also was about finding a team that performed well in a stressful situation. They've got 6 minutes, a sniper course instructor said as he watched the two-person team prepare to compete. As one soldier looked through the scope of his rifle in the prone position, his partner spied the targets and told him how to adjust his shot. With the threat of time expiring, some teams were impatient, but those who communicated well were more often than not rewarded with the satisfying plunk of their bullet hitting the skilled target. Teams received information on each event as they were driven around Fort Bragg's extensive network of ranges. At each stop, they received an additional verbal briefing and then had 1 minute to ask questions. At range 62B, their communication skills were further tested. 20 targets were mixed amid a range that includes numerous obstacles, buildings, and mock vehicles. Each was marked by a symbol and a color denoting that a type of weapon that should be used: pistol, carbine, or sniper rifle. Working together, the competitors had to look at a card shown to them by an instructor, find that symbol, and shoot a target with the appropriate weapon. From a raised platform with numerous levels that replicated the top of a building, competitors could not see every target from a single position. Instead, they had to split up to guide each other to their intended targets. If a team member struck the wrong target, points were deducted from their score. At range 42, the targets were more straightforward, but this time it was a physical challenge facing the teams. The event began with each competitor running uphill with a 90-pound kettlebell. They then took turns firing at targets before moving on with their added weight to a new position. Officials said the event was designed to mimic the weight of a typical combat load and tested the team's ability to move their gear to a new position without losing their ability to engage their target. The event included day and night shooting, and at times placed limitations on the type of equipment a team could use. Ranges included those that were essentially an open field, as well as those that mimicked an urban environment.
You know, you're going to laugh at me, but I think that sounds like fun. Except, of course, for the running uphill with 90 pounds.
Yeah.
But other than that, I would like to be able to participate in something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, Maxton, 16-year-old, faces murder charge. This is ugly. By Nancy McCleary, staff writer, in Lumberton. The son of a man charged with killing a Maxton resident in December is now accused of taking part in the crime, according to Robson County Sheriff's Office. Tony Cornelius Locklear Jr., 16 of Pembroke, was charged Friday with first-degree murder, first-degree kidnapping, and conspiracy. Locklear and his father, Tony Cornelius Locklear Sr., 43, are accused in the December 4th death of Braxton Chavez Jr., 55, of Chavin Lane, a sheriff's office release said. The father is accused in 2 murders over 15 days about 1,100 miles apart, one in Maxton and the other in Maine. For the murder of Chavez, the elder Locklear faces charges of first-degree murder, first-degree kidnapping, and conspiracy. Chavez's body was found in a wooded area off Alma Road, about 4 miles southeast of Maxton. Before the body was found, Chavez's son reported that his father had been kidnapped, authorities said. Locklear Jr. is being held in the Robeson County Detention Center without bail. Locklear Sr. was arrested March 3rd in Alabama, a sheriff's office release said. He has been extradited to Millinocket, Maine, where he is charged with murder and robbery in the December 19th shooting, death of Wayne Lapierre. The victim's wife was also injured. Millinocket is a small town in central Maine, about 75 miles north of Bangor. Christopher Murray, 38, of Maxton, also is charged in the incident in which Lapierre's wife was injured. He is being held in Maine in the Penobscot County Jail. Locklear Sr. was extradited to Maine shortly after he was arrested, the sheriff's office release said. Earlier this month, Locklear Sr.'s daughter, Alexis Locklear, 21, who is Murray's girlfriend, was arrested in Maxton. She has been indicted by the Penobscot County Grand Jury on murder and robbery charges in the same case, according to the Bangor Daily News in Maine. It is not known whether she has been extradited. She is not listed as an inmate in the Penobscot County Jail. Okay.
Exploitation charges filed in Rayford. A Rayford woman who portrayed herself as a caretaker for a 75-year-old man is accused of using his debit card to make purchases totaling more than $15,000 in a year's time, Rayford police said. Anita Henderson, 55, of the 200 block of Windswept Drive in Rayford, was charged Thursday with exploiting a disabled or elderly person, financial card theft, financial card fraud, identity theft, and obtaining property by false pretense. Henderson apparently befriended the victim, a Rayford man, under the guise of helping him, Madge, Calvin Crumpler said. Investigators found surveillance photos that showed Henderson helping the man use an ATM in Rayford, which is when investigators believe Henderson got the PIN number. After that, only Henderson was seen using the machine, Crumpler said. Between December 1st and February 28th, a police release said Henderson is accused of using the man's debit card to rack up the purchase of $15,262. The victim's family members figured out what was happening and notified police, Crumpler said. Henderson's bail was set at $75,000.
All right, our golf tournament is coming up again. In an effort to support our mission and continued financial success, we will be hosting our 8th annual golf tournament on Saturday, April 7th at Gates Floor Golf and Country Club starting at 11 a.m. Tee-off will be at noon. With your support of $100, your sponsorship will include additional advertisement and hole signage. A corporate sponsorship of $300 will include all of the above, and four players will be eligible to play for free. Now, we would all love you to help or come or do whatever you can to help us. All right, now back to the news. Woodlake residents win $162.5 million judgment over the dam. Wow. This is by Steve Devane, staff writer. VAS. Residents of Woodlake in Moore County won a $162.5 million judgment Thursday against the corporation that owns the community's dam, which was damaged by Hurricane Matthew and later breached by the state, according to a statement released Friday by the residents. I hope the rest of the article is going to explain how come it's the company's fault when the Matthew hit it. The residents filed the suit against Woodlake CC Corp. In October, alleging they had been harmed by the failure of the corporation to maintain the dam. Well, that explains that. The state breached the dam last year, leaving mostly empty a 1,200-acre lake that was once used for boating, swimming, fishing, and water skiing. The suit was filed on behalf of property owners in Wood Lake and residents who paid dues to the corporation, which also owns the community's country club. It said the corporation continues to advertise, quote, lakefront, unquote, lots in the subdivision. The lake, which the company describes as a centerpiece of the community, has become a quagmire, the suit said. Efforts were, and they've got a picture of the lake, and it looks an awful lot like pieces of desert I saw out in California. There's a long pier and a lot of sand past it, and a little pond up in the upper left-hand corner. Looks like it might have rained. Efforts were unsuccessful to reach the representative of the corporation by email on Friday, seeking comment about the judgment. Julie Watson, the corporation's vice president, said in a March 14 deposition that the corporation's investors in Germany have indicated that they do not plan to put more money into the club, according to documents posted on the Restore Wood Lake Committee's website. Residents formed the committee in response to the issues with the dam. Hope D. Carmichael, a lawyer from the Raleigh firm of Jordan, Price, Wall, Gray, Jones, and Carlton, asked Watson questions for the deposition. Carmichael represents the Wood Lake residents. Watson said that an investment group managed by Ilya Steiner had planned to put $6.5 million into the club, including $2 million to repair the dam. The investors paid $2.5 million for the club and sent Watson various amounts of money, $20,000 to $100,000, to put into the facility, she said. The clubhouse and one of the club's 2 golf courses are closed, Watson said. Watson said the investors are no longer supporting Wood Lake after indicating last year that they were closing the books on the club. She said that when she could get in contact with the investment group, she was called by Ingold Boex, who previously owned the club before it declared bankruptcy and was sold at auction in 2015. Boex told Watson that the investors were no longer going to support the club, she said. Watson said she didn't know what relationship, if any, Boex had with Steiner, but Boex may have consulted with the investment group. Watson said a group from China and several others have asked about buying the club, but no deal was reached. The corporation did not respond to the lawsuit, prompting the Moore County Superior Court clerk to enter a statement of default against it in January. Judge James M. Webb later issued an order certifying the lawsuit as a class action. At a hearing Thursday, lawyers for the residents presented evidence about damages to the residents. Webb ruled in favor of the residents and issued a judgment that included compensatory damages of $40.63 million and punitive damages of $121.9 million, according to the statement. The judgment will now serve as a lien against the corporation's assets, the statement said. The residents must wait 30 days for any objections to the judgment. After that, they begin to execute the judgment. There are a number of options we can take in executing the judgment, so we will be developing our strategy in the next 30 days, the statement said. It is not prudent for us to present the options or potential strategy at this time, but we will share this information once our attorney advises that it is safe to do so. The corporation also can appeal the judgment. Only 36 of more than 1,900 residents and property owners opted out of the lawsuit, according to the statement. Part of Wood Lake Dam's spillway collapsed in October 2016 after heavy rain from Hurricane Matthew. State officials were worried that the dam might fall and evacuated residents downstream. Webb issued a consent order in March 2017 requiring the corporation to complete construction of a temporary full breach of the dam by June 2017. State officials declared an emergency that month, saying the corporation would not be able to meet the deadline. The state then hired engineering and consulting companies to breach the dam. Boy, I'll bet you they're going to have fun trying to get that money out of them. Okay, this is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service in mind. Our post office box number is 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina 28303. If you have any questions or comments, please call us at 910-672-1600 or our toll-free number 1-844-709-5656. Your radio hosts today are Carolyn
And Gladys.
and we are proud to serve you today.
When a runner takes a moment to remember, by Bill Kirby Jr. Their ultimate goal is the finish line. Time matters to the thousands of men and women who will participate Sunday in the 5th annual All-American Marathon and Mike-to-Mike Half Marathon that winds from Fayetteville Festival Plaza Park through the city along the All-American Freeway and ultimately to their final destination at the main post-parade field on Fort Bragg. If you are cheering the runners along, don't be surprised if you see many of them take a moment near the Santa Fe Drive overpass where the Wear Blue Mile begins with more than 100 U.S. flags and posters of those who have made the greatest sacrifice for their country. The mile is a fitting tribute and representative of those who have given their lives in service to our country, says Dave Leach, co-president, along with Jackie DeMach of the Fort Bragg chapter of the Wear Blue Run to Remember. By seeing their real personal photographs, each runner is reminded of the human loss of America's longest war. The national organization was founded by Lisa Hallett, Leach says, after the death of her husband, Captain John Hallett, in 2009. Captain Hallett was a company commander killed while serving in Afghanistan. As for the Wear Blue Mile, we'll have to close to 120 volunteers holding flags along the course as part of the tribute, says Leach, a colonel assigned to the Joint Special Operations Command. They wear blue and the mile consists of faces of the fallen and then the American flags bearing a streamer with the name of a fallen service member. The posters have individual photographs that capture each person as their family remembers them. There will be, Leach says, 110 military men and women remembering along the Wear Blue Mile. Among them will be Sergeant Jonathan Michael Hunter and Christopher Harris, 82nd Airborne Division soldier who were killed in 2017 in Afghanistan. Master Sergeant John Wheeler, a special operations soldier who died in 2015 in Iraq. Michael Donahue, an 18th Airborne Corps soldier who died in Afghanistan in 2014. Colonel Darren Wright, a senior officer at Fort Bragg, who lost his life in a 2013 parachute accident, and Captain Kimberly Hampton, an 82nd Airborne Division helicopter pilot who was killed in Iraq in 2004. It's going to be emotional, Kimberly Tompkins, the marathon director, says about the races that are being promoted by Fayetteville and Fort Bragg, which is celebrating its 100th anniversary. Kevin Arata, corporate communications director for the city and a veteran who served in Iraq and Afghanistan, can appreciate the moment when runners see the Wear Blue Mile and photos of a fallen fellow soldier. It's a reflective moment, he says, a poignant moment, Leach says, when participants reach the Wear Blue Mile. As runners pass the posters, it is solemn, quiet reflection, he says. The noise, talking, and laughing is notably reduced. Many salute, some reach out and touch the posters, and something else. The most compelling is to see a runner stop and reflect on their loved one, Leach says. You've seen this in each running of a race, and it is very powerful. It is a very powerful image.
Okay, and I laughed because I was getting the short ones. Well, I'm getting a long one now. This was a page and a half. Countywide water system under consideration again, by Steve Devane, staff writer, and it's in the picture above this, it says, Jeffrey P. Brown works on changing out a broken water meter on Brightland Place. The Cumberland County Commissioners want to make sure residents with wells contaminated by Gen X have water, but the effect could be the start of providing water across the county. And it shows a workman in an orange safety vest, looking at the hole in the ground where he's been digging up the water. And a sidebar says, coming Sunday, before Gen X there was C8. We begin a 4-part series exploring the backstory of North Carolina's Gen X crisis. Now the story. The contamination of private wells in southern Cumberland County has revived a decades-old conversation about running water lines to homes across the county. Tests of 550 wells that provide water to homes around the Chemours plant in Bladen County have found Gen X, a potentially carcinogenic compound that is made at the facility. The amount is at or above the state's health goal in 190 of those wells. The Chemours plant is between North Carolina 87 and Cape Fear River near the Cumberland County line. The Cumberland County Board of Commissioners has said running water lines to the contaminated area is a top priority. A preliminary engineering report expected to be completed this October will include information about providing water to the larger Grays Creek area. An exact cost hasn't been established. A financing model presented to commissioners last week projected the cost at $48 million. That's $20 million more than a report estimated 9 years ago, and this time adds water service to fire hydrants. Well, no. By comparison, and taken a step further, 26 years ago, referendum voters narrowly said no to $63.2 million worth of projects that would have brought water and sewer services to much of the county. And then in 2011, voters in Grays Creek overwhelmingly voted down a proposal for running water to their area. Well, there they are. Commissioner Marshall Fairclough, who served on the board when it was discussing the water issue in the mid-1990s, said he thinks a vote on water in the Grays Creek area might be different now than it was in 2011. The winds are blowing in a more favorable direction this time, he said. Interviews with residents in the area support Fairclough's belief. Fairclough and Commissioner Jimmy Keefe believes cost and the fear of annexation were pivotal parts in the equations previously. Opposition remains, but the Gen X contamination and the possibility that Chemours would pay part of the cost seem to have lessened the resistance. Other challenges for implementation are the variations in population in different areas, plans for growth and how that will lead to what size water lines to put in place. And there is an inset. Again, Jeffrey Brown replaces a broken water meter on Brightleaf Place. The Cumberland County Commissioners want to make sure residents with wells contaminated by Gen X have water, but the effort could be the start of providing water across the county. That's the same thing they said before. This time, the picture is showing him putting in a new water pump, water meter. Excuse me. Now to continue the story, if I lived over there, Leslie Koch, K-O-C-H, and I'm going to say Koch. Leslie Koch, who lives on Gainey Road, said the contamination causes concern that makes her more inclined to accept public water. I personally think Gen X issue might cause people to look at it in a more open-minded and favorable light, she said. Cook said that the level of support for public water will probably depend on proximity to the plant, but those closer are more likely to be in favor. If I were over there, I'd say, yep, sign me up, she said. Gerald Glover, who had lived off School Road since 1999, said he opposed the water bond in 2011 because of the rural nature of the Grays Creek area. The area has since been developed, he said. He said, pointing towards fair houses being built nearby. I'm in between. I don't know what's going to be best. Charles Packer, who lives on Joe Hall Road, was Vocal in his opposition to running water lines to the area in 2011, he's still against it because of what he calls secrecy between county officials and the Fayetteville Public Works Commission. Packer said the county could get water from Bladen County, which already provides service to a neighborhood near the county line, or from Robeson County, which also provides service to provides water to some homes in that section of Cumberland County. Dan Wesselman, who lives on County Line Road, about 2 miles from the Chemours plant, said he is in favor of Cumberland County running water lines to the area, but has issues with getting the water from Bladen County, where trace levels of Gen X have been detected in wells used by that water system. I was one of the residents around here that voted for the water system several years ago, and I still want it, he said. However, it would be an appropriate option if the water we were to receive was clean and free of chemicals, and that doesn't seem to be the case with Bladen at this time. Jeffrey P. Brown, Cumberland County's Engineering Infrastructure Director, that's the guy we've seen in the pictures, replacing the water meters and checking them. He said Robeson County officials have indicated that they want to focus on providing water to residents in their county. He asked if Cumberland commissioners move forward with the countywide water effort, officials likely will look at the most efficient way of running the water lines. I think our desire would be to work with PWC as our preferred option, Brown said. Parker said that if water lines are run to the area, Chemours or its predecessor, DuPont, should pay for the lines that go to homes with contaminated wells. The one that caused it should be responsible for it, he said. That sounds good to me. Packard said some residences are being built in what he calls wet areas. Those houses are going in on the idea that eventually water and sewer will be here, he said. Tim Evans lives on Gainey Road and owns Longleaf Properties, a real estate company that sells land and represents builders who are constructing homes in the Grays Creek area. He said he thinks that the county should consider running water to the area because of the Gen X issue and because elementary schools that don't have public water. I'm of the opinion that if it came back in today, it would be voted in. Maybe overwhelmingly, he said. County commissioners could decide to fund the water project through a type of bonds that don't require voter approval. They have discussed how the county could pay for the project without other funding. Keefe, who serves as chairman of the board's finance committee, said the county needs to look beyond the contamination. We should not be basing a long-term plan for a 30 to 40-year project on what happened with Gen X recently, he said. In 2 years, it might be something else. Well, the recent Gen X detection is the latest in a string of contamination in Cumberland County. Since 2004, the county has helped provide water to 6 areas. In 2015, the county helped get PWC water service to several residents on Dixie Trail off Moon Trail near Cumberland Road. The state paid for the project. County officials also worked with PWC to run water lines to Bullard Circle off Ramsey Street after tests show elevated levels of arsenic in well water there in 2014. That's pretty near where we are. The county owns a water system near the Bladen County line and has made sure that residents in neighborhoods off US 301 near Hope Mills, near Grace Creek High School, and along Cedar Creek Road near NC 210 have been clean drinking water. I think that's really important. Don't you to have clean drinking water and no contaminations? You can't lose sight of the overall goal, Keith said. Ultimately, you have to have a county-wide water plan. County officials have talked about that possibility since at least the late 1960s. 26 years ago, commissioners asked voters across the county to approve $16.4 million sewer bond issue and a $13.6 billion bond issue. So it was $1 million, $1 million. The money from the bonds would have been used with revenue from a special tax and special assessments to pay for a $63.2 million worth of projects that would have brought water and sewage services to much of the county. Each referendum lost by a few hundred votes. Today, most residents who live outside Fayetteville or towns in the county will still get their water from well and use septic tanks. Cost isn't the only factor. Commissioner Jeanette Council, vice chairwoman of the court, said commissioners are exploring their options. I think it would be in conjunction with PwC in some kind of way, she said. Council said the need for countywide water has been around for years and remains a priority. It never went away as a need, even when there wasn't Gen X, she said. Commissioners discussed the water issue at a special meeting this month that focused on funding for capital projects. A financing model they are considering calls for starting the Grays Creek project in January 2020. The financing model estimated that the Grays Creek project would cost about $48 million, but the actual cost has not yet been determined. A 2009 report put the estimated cost of running water lines to the area at about $28 million. Brown, the county's engineering and infrastructure director, said the 2009 estimate, since outdated because of the county's growth, was based on running lines that would provide drinking water but wouldn't have enough water pressure for fire hydrants. A report that commissioners approved this year will look at the cost of the upgraded water lines. A 1990 study identified more than $120 million in water and sewer needs in the county. The 2009 study estimated it would cost about $70 million to run water to areas of the county outside of Fayetteville and other incorporated municipalities. If we moved something forward, it would surely be focused on the unincorporated areas of Cumberland County, Brown said. He said funding for a countywide water system would be a major challenge. For example, qualifying for a federal grant to run water lines to the Grays Creek area might be difficult because the median income of residents there might be too high. The countywide system also would be challenging because of variation in population in different areas. He said engineers would have to determine the proper size of water lines. If the lines are too big, they might have dead water because there aren't enough customers using the system. If the lines are too small, they won't accommodate future growth. Assistant County Manager Tracy Jackson said building a countywide water system also would be a challenge. County officials would have to decide the best place for water tanks, pumps, and other equipment. You'd have to do it in phases, he said. You couldn't do it all at once. Council said commissioners are looking at the countywide needs. It's a necessity to me, she said. Keith said his father, John, worked on the countywide water issue when he was a commissioner in the 1990s. It never went away, Keith said. We're all in the same spot. And there's an inset with a map showing Cumberland County water projects. Up at the top on, well, my glasses are not good, on 401, just north of 295, is Bullard Circle. The Fayetteville Public Works Commission agreed to run water to the neighborhood off Ramsey Street. Oh yeah, that's what it is. After tests in 2014 showed elevated levels of arsenic in well water. On Boone Trail, the state paid to extend a PwC water line to serve several residents of the neighborhood off of Boone Trail near Cumberland Road in 2015, and that's west of Fayetteville down towards Hope Mills. Cedar Creek Road. Water lines extended to an area near NC 210 and 2011 because wells in the area had poor quality water. Okay, and that's off in the far southeast of Fayetteville. South Point Water System, owned by the county and formed in 2012 after an underground plume of gasoline seeped into groundwater, found from the site of a former convenience store at County Line and Chickenfoot Road, contaminating wells serving homes in the area. And Brooklyn Circle. Water lines run to the area off of US 301 near Hope Mills. In 2009, after officials determined that an old dry cleaner had contaminated water. Windridge. Water lines ran to the subdivision off Chickenfoot Road near Grays Creek High School in 2004 after arsenic was discovered in the water. And I know I took a long time on this article, but it's long and I think it's important for any of us that live in Cumberland County.
Yes.
Okay.
Fayetteville singer makes American Idol debut by Roger Mullen, staff writer. Hallie Vargas, Sullivan's ticket to Hollywood could get punched Sunday night. The American Idol show featuring the audition of Vargas Sullivan, who performs under the name Lee Vazzi, is scheduled to air Sunday at 8 p.m. on ABC. Another episode airs Monday night. For her audition, Vargas Sullivan, 20, will sing Love Shoulda Brought You Home by Toni Braxton, along with Como La Flor by Selena. She also got to sing with one of her idols, Lionel Richie, who was one of the American Idol judges. The other judges are Katy Perry and Luke Bryan. Vargas Sullivan's brief duet with Richie is featured in preview clips that have been running in advance of the show. Vargas Sullivan, who is the daughter of Maureen Vargas and Dwight Sullivan, attended school in Fayetteville and got her start performing in The Lion King on Broadway when she was 9 years old. She played the role of Nala and performed with the award-winning show for about a year and a half. She is also a veteran of Cape Fear Regional Theater performances, including The Best Christmas Pageant Ever, Hairspray, and Return to the Forbidden Planet. In a recent interview, Vargas Sullivan said she auditioned for the show in Savannah, Georgia in October. I was very, very, very nervous, she said. I'm used to auditioning, but something about this audition was so nerve-wracking to me, especially after I sang with Lionel Richie. Vargas Sullivan said she sang with Richie on the 1977 Commodore song, Zoom. American Idol debuted on Fox in 2002 and quickly became one of the television's most popular shows. It ended its Fox run in 2016 and premiered this month on ABC. 3 North Carolina residents have won the singing competition: Fantasia Barrino, Scotty McCreery, and Caleb Johnson. Several Tar Heels have been finalists or runners-up on the show and gone on to successful careers, including Clay Aiken, Chris Daughtry, and Kelly Pickler.
Okay, Behind the Wheel. Guide has tips for parking downtown. This is by Myron B. Pitts. As downtown Fayetteville continues to grow, Behind the Wheel was reminded recently that parking there legally, especially during business hours, can sometimes pose a challenge. The Fayetteville Parking Service at parkfayetteville.com posts helpful tips and a lot of information, including a downtown Fayetteville parking guide. It says, please review this guide to help make your parking experience a simple and pleasant one. Now, we should keep things in perspective. As former residents of downtown, we at Behind the Wheel can confidently say a plucky and conscientious driver can still get a good free space for 2 or 3 hours. We are not downtown DC by any means, but there are a few things to keep in mind. Recently, a friend posted on Facebook that she was surprised that in a city lot, you cannot avoid a citation by simply moving your car to another space in the lot. We were surprised that she was surprised. Well, I'm surprised. I'm surprised. She's a long timer. There's this trip from Parking Guide. Time begins upon first arrival and runs continuous throughout the day for each block. If you leave and return, please keep in mind that your time is calculated beginning the first time you parked on each block. And in other words, if you're in a 2-hour space, you can't move your car to a space further down the same block. The block is treated like a lot. We learned this rule the hard way when we lived downtown. And have you ever seen someone park parallel in a space with the front of the car against the direction of the traffic on the other side of the road? We think it just feels intuitively wrong, and indeed, it will get you a ticket. Fines range from $15 to $25. An exception is a handicap parking violation, which will draw a $250 fine. A color-coded map is available at parkfayetteville.com, and the office at 108 High Street shows the various lots, including free parking spaces. By the way, as an aside, and this is me, not Myron Pitts, in Raleigh, if you have a handicap sticker and park they don't charge you on the parking meter, and you can park for however long you need, because I sometimes go up to the archives and can do that. Mm-hmm. But if I park in a parking lot, I have to pay it. And here in Fayetteville, if you park on the street, the parking is not waived for handicap parking, as far as I know. Okay, well, that's a little bit of stuff. Of course, the city lost one of its all-time great free all-day lots behind the former Prince Charles Hotel. That space, part of which also doubled as the Carnival Midway for festivals, is gone. It's being dug up for a new baseball stadium and other development. Now, if they put in the stadium, where are people going to park? I guess they just drop in like they're paratroopers. On the fast track, sections of road will be widened and intersections will be improved in Hope, Lee, Scotland, Richmond, and Montgomery counties, according to the Department of Transportation. It's all part of a plan worked out between the DOT and the General Assembly to get smaller projects in the pipeline and completed faster under the Mobility/Modernization Fund. That fund grants $1.7 million to each of the state's 14 highway divisions. Brandon Jones, engineer for Division 8, said in a news release that most of the money will add paved shoulders to state highways on secondary roads over 2 years. Projects include Lee County, Lemon Springs Road between Edwards and Castleberry Roads, and Franklin Drive between Henley and Pendergrass Roads, and Hope County, Davis Bridge Road between the Robeson County line and Camden, and a traffic signal will be installed at Davis Bridge and Arabia Roads. Other work will include improving intersection of US 401 in Scotland County, and in Hope, straightening what is now an angled intersection at Callaway and Carolina Roads to improve visibility, according to the release. Patrick Malamphy, the State Transportation Board member for Division 8, said in the release, "It's great that we have this new fund to pay for these kinds of projects that are important to a community. We believe we'd struggle to find many people who would disagree with that." Columnist Myron B. Pitts can be reached at mpitts@FayetteVilleObserver.com or 486-3559.
Board reinstates McAllister as nonprofit executive director by Michael Futch, staff writer. The governing board members of Community Health Interventions and Sickle Cell Agency, Inc. decided by majority approval on Friday to reinstate Mary McAllister as the organization's executive director. "The McAllisters are back," said a source who is familiar with the workings of the nonprofit agency. They signed a petition to reinstate them. Previously, the board had voted to oust McAllister and her son, the agency's deputy director of Delvin McAllister, for allegedly mismanagement of federal grant money. That vote came around mid-February, the source said. The source, who asked for anonymity said employees have been told that state or federal regulators could investigate. McAllister, 81, is a former state representative and Cumberland County Commissioner. Delvin McAllister has been in charge of running an organization since 2007. What happened was they went and got some board members together and had them sign a document that they wanted to reinstate them, the source said. That's what they did. As a result, all of the officers resigned. According to the source, the 4 executive officers of the 14-member board stepped down Friday and after learning that fellow board members had voted to restore the McAllisters to their former positions. Those officers include Chairwoman Charnel Green, Vice Chairman Darvin Jones, Secretary Colleen Pegram, and the Reverend Philip Marks, the treasurer of the board. There are no phone listings under those four names in the Fayetteville area. Everything's up in flux, the source said. I don't know what surprises me anymore. They are back. Mary and Delvin McAllister could not be reached for comment Friday evening. The Reverend Aaron Johnson, a member of the board, led the move to have the McAllisters reinstated. According to the source, Johnson is a former board treasurer, pastor emeritus of Mount Sinai Missionary Baptist Church, and a prominent figure in the black community. I don't want to comment on that, Johnson said. We're still trying to work things out. Through reinstatement would have required a majority of the board. The source was uncertain how many members signed the petition in favor of that action. Contact information for board members is not included on the agency website. Community Health Interventions also owns and operates offices in Goldsboro and Jacksonville. Previously, an office in Sanford, Florida, served Central Florida, is closed. The federally qualified South Central Community Health Center, which falls under the
auspices
of the agency, is on West South Southern Avenue in Rayford. Delvin McAllister served as CEO of the health clinic, which is intended to help the underserved and underinsured. A decade ago, the government agencies examined Mary McAllister's campaign records and Operation Sickle Cell, which was the original name of the Community Health Interventions and Sickle Cell Agency. She was never charged with criminal wrongdoing. The NC State Board of Elections and State Auditor's Office conducted separate investigations beginning in 2007 that determined McAllister took money from her campaign and used Operation Sickle Cell for campaign activities. The State Board of Elections fined her $16,294 for improper financial transactions involving her election campaign and its relationship with the organization. A copy machine at the agency was used for campaign activities, according to news accounts. The elections board determined that her campaign gave her $5,669 for loans that were never made. The fine also covered prohibited campaign contributions and other assessments. She loaned her campaign the money to pay the fine.
They sound like they've got a mess there, and that's my county. Okay, now, let me read this first. This is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the SCNCRRS in mind. Our post office box number is 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina 28303. If you have any questions or comments, please call us at 910-672-1600 or our toll-free number 1-844-709-5656. Your radio hosts today are Carolyn
and Gladys,
and we are proud to serve you today. Now it's time to move on to the obituaries. First, the death notices. The following deaths have been reported. See upcoming editions of the Fayettville Observer for complete obituary information. Cumberland County. Charles R. Jeffrey, 71, of Fayetteville, Pinecrest Funeral and Cremation Services of Hope Mills. Cape Fear Region. Willie Royster, 80, of Coates, Dafford Funeral Home, Angier. Hal Smith, 76, of Garland, Carter Funeral Home. William Fogey Jones, 76, of Rowland Hills Funeral Home. Funerals today. Thelma McLaughlin, I'm having trouble reading today. Thomas McLaurin Hurd, 80, of Christiana, Pennsylvania, formerly of Fayetteville. 12 p.m., Shekinah Faith Temple International Ministries. Burial in Cross Creek Cemetery, number 5. Herring Funeral Care and Cremations. I didn't know they have number 5. Galbraith, James Jabbo Galbraith, 69, of Maxton. 2 p.m., Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church in Maxton. Burial McLeod Cemetery in Maxton. S&L Funeral Home in Maxton. Richard Bordeaux, 78, of Elizabethtown. 4 p.m., Bladen Gaskins Funeral Home. Burial, Bordeaux Family Cemetery, Bladen Gaskins Funeral Home of Elizabethtown. Pernell Kelly, 73, of Rayford. 11 a.m., Mount Pisgah Resource Center, Rayford. Burial, Mount Pisgah Baptist Church Cemetery, Wiseman Mortuary. Alfred M. Gillespie, 38, of Fayetteville. 1 p.m., Colvin Funeral Home Chapel. Burial, Rockfish Memorial Park, Colvin Funeral Home and Crematory. Bernard Bryant, 29, of Bun Level, 12 p.m. Bethel AME Zion Church, Spring Lake. Burial, Riverview Cemetery, Spring Lake. Wiseman Mortuary. Carolyn Baldwin, 61 of Parkton, 2 p.m. Pinecrest Funeral and Cremation Services. Pinecrest Funeral and Cremation Services of Hope Mills. Charles Council, 62 of Fayetteville, 11 a.m. First New Light Baptist Church, burial in the church cemetery. Colvin Funeral Home and Crematory. Nelson McKnight, Francis Nelson McKnight, 69 of Yonkers, New York, 1 p.m. Wiseman Mortuary Chapel. Burial, Cross Creek Cemetery No. 4, Wiseman Mortuary. William Hare, 92 of Elizabethtown, 1 p.m. Elizabethtown Baptist Church. A burial, Elizabethtown City Cemetery, Bladen Gaskins Funeral Home, Elizabethtown. Retired Tech Sergeant Earl Jeffries, 81 of Fayetteville, 12 p.m. Berean Baptist Church, Rogers and Brees Funeral Home. Mac Manning, 94 of Parkton, 1 p.m. Providence AME Zion Church, burial, church ceremony, Hills Funeral Home. Patricia Collins, 63 of Fayetteville, 11 a.m. Murphy's Chapter, Holy Bible Church of God, Unity Funeral Services of Fayetteville. Robert Larkins, 55 of Fayetteville, 11 a.m. Wiseman Mortuary Chapel, Wiseman Mortuary. In Cumberland County, Brian Keith Lauren of Stedman, 45, died Thursday, March 22nd. Funeral Wednesday, 3 p.m. Funeral home. Visitation, funeral home, Wednesday, 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Burial, Williamson Family Cemetery, Stedman. Brother Funeral Home of Stedman. Fayetteville, Patricia Ann Collins, 63 of Fayetteville, died Monday, March 19th. Funeral Saturday, 11 a.m. Murphy's Chapel, Holy Bible Church of God. Viewing, Murphy's Chapel, Saturday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Unity Funeral Services of Fayetteville. Okay, I'm not going to get this very good. Pathmini Devi Markendu, 76 of Fayetteville, died Wednesday, March 21st. Funeral Monday, 2 p.m. Sullivan's Highland Funeral Services. Sullivan's Highland Funeral Service and Crematory. Fayetteville, Brenda Joyce Willis, 68 of Fayetteville, died Thursday, March 22nd. A memorial, Sunday, 2 p.m. Bowie Funeral Home, Chapel. Viewing, 543 Vass Road in Grieford. Sunday, 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Bowie Funeral Home. Okay. Boy, I'm having trouble with my eyes today. Fayetteville, William L. Faircloth, 67 of Hope Mills, passed away on Wednesday, March 21st. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. The family will receive friends and family from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Sunday, March 25th at Jernigan Warren Funeral Home. The funeral will be held on Monday, March 26th at 12:30 p.m. at Crosspoint Church at 7030 Rockfish Road in Fayetteville. Burial with military honors will follow at Sandhill State Veterans Cemetery. In lieu of flowers, the family requests donations be made towards final expenses and medical bills through GoFundMe, https://www.gofundme.com/helping-our-hero William-Faircloth. Region and elsewhere. In Aberdeen, Audrey Catherine Bobbitt of Aberdeen, North Carolina, died March 22nd at Quail Haven Village in Pinehurst. A visitation was held Saturday, March 24th at Page Memorial United Methodist Church in Aberdeen, beginning at 10 o'clock and followed by funeral services at 11 a.m. officiated by the Reverend Mike Davis. Interment will follow the service at Bethesda Cemetery in Aberdeen. Memorials may be made to the Scholarship Fund at Page Memorial Church, 115 West Main Street, Post Office Box 695, Aberdeen, 28315. Powell Funeral Home and Crematory of Southern Pines is assisting the family. Online condolences at funerals.com. Pembroke, Mr. Ernest Dean Oxendine was born March 8, 1936 and departed his life March 20th. Funeral services were held at 2 p.m. Friday, March 23rd at Davis Funeral Home Chapel, Pembroke. Burial followed in Oxendine Cemetery. The family received friends before funeral time. In Cameron, Junior June Fry, 80 of Cameron, died Monday, March 19th. Funeral Monday, 1 p.m. Mount Zion AME Zion Church. Visitation at the funeral home Sunday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Burial, Mount Zion Church Cemetery, Pugh and Smith Funeral Home. They got lots this time, too. Cowpen, South Carolina, formerly of Fayetteville, Jamaica T. Clements, 41 of Cowpen, South Carolina, formerly of Fayetteville, died Saturday, March 17th. Funeral Sunday at 11 a.m. at Greater Works Deliverance Chapel. Viewing at the funeral home Saturday, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Burial Monday, 12 noon at Sand Hill State Veterans Cemetery. Herring Funeral Care and Crematory. St. Paul's, Lucy Shaw, 69 of St. Paul's, died Monday, March 19th. Funeral Sunday, 3 p.m., New Bethel Missionary Baptist Church. Viewing McCoy and Sons Mortuary, Saturday, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. McCoy and Sons Mortuary. Rosie Lee Thomas Peterson, 90 of Broadway, died Friday, March 23rd. Funeral Sunday, 3 p.m. at Holly Springs Baptist Church in Broadway. Visitation, Church Multipurpose Building. Sunday, 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Burial in the church cemetery. O'Quinn Peebles Phillips Funeral Home and Crematory in Lillington. Elizabeth Murphy, 94 of Pinehurst, died Monday, March 19th. Funeral Tuesday, 3 p.m. Fresh Start by Discipleship Center, Aberdeen. Visitation, Purcell Funeral Home, Chapel, Southern Pines. Monday, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Burial, Jackson Hamlet Community Cemetery, Jackson Hamlet. Purcell Funeral Home of Southern Pines. Zoner Arnold Taylor, 90 of Buies Creek, died Thursday, March 22nd. Funeral Sunday, 2 p.m. O'Quinn Peebles Phillips Chapel. Visitation, Funeral Home Saturday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Burial, Harnett Memorial Park. O'Quinn Peebles Phillips Funeral Home and Crematory of Willington. Tony Durant Gilchrist, 60 of Rayford, died Wednesday, March 21st. Funeral Sunday, 3 p.m. Leech Springs Missionary Baptist Church. Visitation, Dobie Funeral Home, Saturday, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Burial, Hope County Community Cemetery. Dobie Funeral Home. Marie Louise Quick Calder, 82 of Laurel Hill, died Thursday, March 22nd. Funeral Monday at 3 p.m. Richard Bowles Funeral Service, Chapel. Visitation will be at the funeral home Sunday, 6 to 8 p.m. Burial, Hillside Memorial Park, Richard Bowles Funeral Service. Curtis Dockery, 62 of Laurinburg, died Tuesday, March 20th. Funeral Sunday, 2 p.m. J.E. Johnson Elementary School Gym. Viewing, McFadder Funeral Home. Saturday, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Burial, Hillside Memorial Park Cemetery. Donald Wilson, 79 of Clinton, died Wednesday, March 21st. Memorial Saturday, 2 p.m. Graves Memorial Presbyterian Church of Clinton. Visitation immediately following the service in the